Hello everyone, this is a part 2 to my ranking Danganronpa characters, so if you haven't watched the Trigger Happy Havoc one, please check that one out. Please like, subscribe, and comment. Thank you less than 3.
Yo! The name's Akane Oari. Nice to meet ya.
I love Akane. Her backstory made me appreciate her so much more, and in a way, I feel genuinely inspired by her. That's why it really bothers me how heavily sexualized she is. I understand that Danganronpa is an adult game and that it includes sexualized characters, but when you consider how often the creators sexualizes characters who have experienced sexual assault or harassment, it becomes deeply unsettling, like Mikan for example. Anyway, going back to Akane, her outfit is the exact opposite of what a gymnast would realistically wear. While I get that some of it ties into her backstory, it still feels exploitative. She deserves so much better. I admire Akane's strength and her sweet relationship with Necamaru. I've always had a soft spot for hot-headed characters, and as someone who's impulsive and stubborn myself, she feels like my twin.
Should I begin with a brief introduction of myself?
I've never really cared much about the ultimate imposter, never have, probably never will. But I have to admit, I thought it was hilarious when he pretended to be Bakuya Tagami. I was so confused at first. Still, he came across as really sweet, especially when he vowed to protect everyone from Monokuma. Honestly, he's way more likable than the real Bakuya. At first, I found his overprotective behavior super annoying during my first playthrough. But when it was revealed that he'd been murdered, my heart kind of dropped. It just came out of nowhere. I don't mind that he died, but I do wish he had more time in the story, like seeing him throughout the trials. His free time events were surprisingly wholesome. I actually found myself saying, "Ah," while watching them. He's a really respectful person, always putting others' needs and well-being before his own. The fact that he was clearly conflicted with himself, but still managed to lead and be a genuinely good person. I have a lot of respect for that.
I'm Chiaki Nami, the ultimate gamer. Video games are my hobby, and I'm a fan of all genres. Nice to meet you.
Chiaki is the GOAT, you can't argue with me. She's kind, smart, and a gamer. What more could you ask for? She's brave without seeming annoying or over the top, and that's so refreshing. She's the type of person I'd want solving my murder, her, Hiyoko Kaide, and Mondo. I was crying during her death in the anime, ugly sobbing, mouth over my hand. She's one of the few characters that genuinely had an impact on me. I can't understand the hate she gets, or why she even gets it for that matter. I hear people compare her to a Mary Sue character, which if you don't know, is an over-idealized, unrealistic female character. She was meant to be the ideal support system. So obviously she's going to be a very pleasant person. God forbid a female is just a kind, sweet person, I guess. And she's very realistic, she's far from perfect. And that's what makes her so lovable to me.
Name's Fuyhiker Kuzuryu. Just so we're clear, I don't plan to act friendly and shit with you guys.
I feel like I'm supposed to like Fuyhiker because I love Pico, but honestly, I've never really cared about him. What I mean is, I genuinely forget he exists sometimes unless I come across a ship edit with him in Pico. It's kind of funny, too, because personality-wise, I actually relate to him a lot. But even with that, I've never been that into his character. The whole situation with Pico was emotional, but instead of feeling moved, I mostly felt frustrated. Don't get me wrong, I appreciate his character growth and his story arc, but my emotional connection is all with Pico. I wouldn't say Fuyhiker is badly written. In fact, he's one of the more realistic characters, which I usually really appreciate. But his sudden shift from aggressive and angry to kind and understanding felt a little too fast and not entirely believable to me. I get that grief can hit people in unpredictable ways, but I just couldn't bring myself to care about him the way others do. So, yeah, he's going in my "I don't like you" section, and that's pretty much the reason why.
My name is Mikan Sumiki. From the bottom of my heart, I hope we can get along.
I hate Mikan. I hate her character, hate her personality, her design, everything about her. I'm allowed to hate her because of her fanservice. I don't like it when people say, "You can't hate her just because of her fanservice," but that's clearly what Kodaka intended for her to be. Like I mentioned with Akane, it's super disturbing how often they will use characters with trauma for fanservice. I'm very empathetic with her backstory. I'm a victim of extreme bullying as well, but the creators handled her so wrong. I can't feel anything for her. If the creators intend for her to be a fan service character, then I'm allowed to hate her for that reason. Even if we take out the fan service, I still hate her character. She's one of those cutesy, clueless, helpless puppy characters, and I greatly despise them. I understand those are trauma responses, but it feels so overly exaggerated and it's super frustrating to deal with. Look at my favorite characters in Danganronpa, Mondo, Celestia, and Sayaka for examples. They aren't like that at all. In fact, quite the opposite.
I'm Hiyoko Sayanji.
I don't want to hear any Hiyoko hate on my channel. I love her. People hate on her because she's so realistic. Like I mentioned with Celestia, she gets so much hate for playing her character just right. Just look at her backstory. It explains her so well. It's not an excuse, but a reason. Her mean act is a defense mechanism. She was raised in an emotionally distant environment. She grew up constantly being envied and targeted by others. It's survival for her, in the environment she had to adapt and learn to survive in. She was shaped by unhealthy systems. Her cruelty came from a place of learned behavior and fear. Not only that, her family had such high expectations of her. I would never let her disrespect slide with me in the real life though. I'll beat her 6 ways to Sunday. She isn't even a cruel, heartless abuser as some of the fandom paints her as. She's just a bitchy brat that cries when she doesn't get her way but also won't take slack from anyone. I don't see that a lot with characters like her, and I like it. I 100% think she could have changed into a better person if she had time to grow and have character development. She was finally starting to change, little by little. Which is what I mean by realistic. Not like Fuyhiker who suddenly had a change of heart. Hiyoko was trying, little by little.
Let's see. I'm Mahiru Koizumi. I'll be counting on you from now on.
Sigh. Mahiru is genuinely one of my favorite characters. I already know people in the comments will complain like, she died too early to be cared about, and honestly, that's a crime on Kodaka's part. I don't care if she came off as bossy. That's realistic when you're stuck in a goddamn killing game. She was trying to stay grounded and keep people in line, and there's nothing wrong with that. I truly think she would have been way more liked if she hadn't died so early, and she wasn't so closely tied to Hiyoko. Just hear me out. Hiyoko is already super disliked, so a lot of the fandom shifts that negativity onto Mahiru by association. But that's exactly why I appreciate her even more. Mahiru showed real empathy and patience. She saw potential in people others wrote off. especially someone like Hiyoko, who needed someone stable in her life. And honestly, I'd love to have someone like Mahiru in my life. Just because Hiyoko wasn't timid or broken, in the same way Mikan was, doesn't mean she didn't deserve love and understanding too. Mahiru got that. She didn't need to be loud about it, she just cared. Her talent is so cool, and we barely scratched the surface of what she could have offered. She's such a lovable, thoughtful character, and the only thing wrong with her is that the writing didn't give her the time or respect she deserved. I'll stand by that.
Hello! Hello! Oh! Ibuki Miota! Put it together and what do you get? Ibuki Miota!
Honestly, I don't care much about Ibuki. I like her, I think she'd be a fun, chaotic friend in real life, but as a character, I find her kind of boring. Yeah, I get that not every character needs to be packed with lore to be likable, but that's just not my thing. The main things I enjoy about her are her voice actor and her design. She's definitely likable, and I can totally see why she has such a big fanbase. But in my very humble opinion, she feels a bit overhyped, mostly because of her appearance. If you actually dig into her character, she's kind of shallow. There's not much development or depth to work with, and to be honest, I've seen this happen with a lot of characters. They blow up just because of how they look. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but it does get frustrating when people come at you just for not liking a popular or aesthetic character. If Ibuki didn't have her edgy punk design, I really don't think she'd be nearly as loved.
My name is Peko Pekoyama. It is nice to meet you too.
Oh my goodness, my beautiful Pico. I love you so much. Her loyalty makes me adore her and cry for her at the same time. I genuinely was tweaking during her reveal and calling herself a tool. It wasn't dramatic or over the top to be so effective. It was emotionally restrained, but heavy. It was quiet and believable. You don't need to scream to show someone falling apart. Pico proved that. I hate when people say a character isn't good because they died so early. That's a crime on Kodaka's part. It's bad pacing or missed potential, not bad character writing. It's just so tragic. Fuyuhiko never wanted her to kill Mahiru. Mahiru didn't deserve to die, even though she did cover up Sato's murder. Pico dehumanized herself so much that she couldn't understand how much her actions would hurt Fuyuhiko, or herself. I want to cry for all of them.
Name's Kazuichi Soda. I'm the ultimate mechanic. Nice to meet ya.
I've always had a soft spot for emotional characters, but only when they're handled well. If they're written in a way that rubs me the wrong way, I just can't connect with them. Humor is super subjective, obviously, but I've never found characters like Kazuichi likable. His obsession with Sonia and his constant pervy behavior made me roll my eyes. It felt like that was his entire personality, and honestly, that's just annoying. Like I mentioned with Toko in my last video, when a character's whole personality revolves around obsessing over someone else, it really drags them down. Kazuichi's idea of comic relief is being a sore loser or acting creepy, and that just doesn't work for me. That said, I don't think he's a badly written character. He has a talent that actually plays into the story, and his design is cool. I also get what they were trying to do with the average teenage boy angle, but I think they went too far with the simping, and that made him really unlikable for me. I dunno. I like Hajime. I like his voice in the game and his design is funny to me. I honestly get very annoyed easily too. But he's a little too emotionally flat. I think him being a protag was kinda lame, and the whole Izuru thing threw me off, especially since I had no knowledge to Danganronpa other than Trigger Happy Havoc. The talent obsession thing was so lame to me, it was just self-destruction. I think calling him a relatable everyman, and then have him let some system decide his value was just confusing. I get it's supposed to add some twist to his character, but it was just irritating. Other than his voice and design and his surface level traits, I don't care about him emotionally. I want to get this little off-brand Gordon Ramsay out of the way. I hate him. Just like with Mikan, I can't stand anything about him. His beta design? Way better. And honestly, I don't care what anyone says, I'm allowed to hate him because of how he was written. I understand his backstory, and sure, his mom situation adds some sympathy or whatever. But adding in all the pervy stuff? Completely unnecessary. Blah blah blah. Argue with a wall. Just because a character has depth doesn't automatically make them good. Terotu's depth gets buried under non-stop creepy behavior, and by the time we see anything serious from him, it's already too late to care. Maybe it's just me, but I think anyone over 15 knows that constantly being a creep isn't comic relief. It's just uncomfortable. Shock humor doesn't make a character funny, it just makes them unbearable to watch. I used to hate Nagito, but I've grown to love him so much more over the years. Honestly, I think he would have made a much better villain than Junko, and that's not even a hot take to me. He actually has a backstory and a motive that makes sense. I'm not one of those people who sees him as a hero or a soft UWU boy, either. I just find the anti-hero trope really fascinating, and I tend to gravitate toward characters like that. He's polite, vulnerable, and intelligent, easily one of the best written characters in Danganronpa in my opinion. That said, I didn't like how he was handled in Ultra Despair Girls, so I'm not even gonna talk about that. Also, I get such strong maternal instincts with him. I mean, I kind of get that with most of the characters I like, but with Nagito it hits different, even though he's not even my favorite.
You may call me Gundam Tanaka. Remember it well, for it is the name that will one day rule this world.
Dude, I love Gundam so much. His voice in the game is absolutely perfect. It fits his character so well, and honestly, he's such a cutie too. I think the Chunibyo trope is hilarious, especially because I've met so many people like that in real life, and they were genuinely some of the nicest people I've ever known. Sure, they might be cringe, but they're also free. Gundam is so dramatic, yet wholesome and funny at the same time. And don't even get me started on his relationship with Sonia. I love them together, and I'm still upset we didn't get more scenes of them. I cried during his final moments, especially after learning the reason behind what he did. His hamsters are the cutest thing ever and somehow make him even more likable. Like, this over-the-top, dark, edgy guy could have picked a wolf or a snake or something intimidating. But no, he has chunky, adorable hamsters. It's hilarious and adorable. I just love him. He's easily one of my favorites.
My name is Sonia Nevermind.
They could never make me hate you, Sonia. I grew up watching Disney from the time I was a baby, so of course Sonia was bound to be one of my favorites. My favorite Disney princess is Cinderella, so I honestly expected Sonia to be just like her, but when I got to know her character more, I was surprised in the best way. I ended up liking her even more than I expected. They didn't make her the typical, spoiled princess, stereotype, and that's exactly what I wanted to see. She's polite, curious, and genuinely kind. I swear, I feel like Tweak Tweak from South Park every time Sonia times Gundam gets mentioned because I just love them so much. And I love that she's into things like serial killers, cults, and war history, but not in a creepy way. It's more of a sincere, academic curiosity, and it makes her character way more unique. I honestly love everything about her.
I am the ultimate team manager, Necamaru Nidai!
I liked Necamaru until he became a robot. I haven't really seen many people talk about it, but I thought that whole part was dumb as hell. It made it hard for me to take him seriously, even though I still like him overall. He's kinda like Mondo, but more likable and way friendlier, especially for people who enjoy those loud, tough but loyal types. I loved his relationship with Akane. They felt like a perfect match. At the end of the day, he's just a buff goofball, super likable, but also kind of easy to forget in the bigger picture. Like with Monokuma, I never seen her as an actual character, but people were surprised I didn't rank Monokuma, so I'll rank Monami. I really like her. Her design is so cute and I like to imagine her in Monokuma's place. She's adorable and I'm glad she actually became a character. If you made it to the end, thank you so much. Please like, subscribe, and comment, and I'll see you in the next video, which will be ranking Killing Harmony's characters.